It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Everybody loves chips and salsa.
What is up, everybody? Zeke Rodriquez here with the Chips and Salsa Show, along with Alice Lara.
Here I am, Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico.
There she is. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you so much for all the amazing support that you guys have been giving us. This is truly inspiring and truly an honor to be here in front of you guys sharing this crazy, crazy stuff that's going on today, in our day, in our modern day today. So today we got an amazing show for you. Every week is an amazing show. I mean, every day just gets crazier. I mean, me and this girl talk regularly, and it's like we just one up each other and how crazy things are getting, and none of us can win because it just keeps getting crazier. So for today, guys, we're going to jump into Israel and Hamas because everybody's into that. Me and her have different opinions on that, but that's what the show's here for, so we can hear everyone's opinion. And I know every one of you wants to talk about it too, so we're going to jump right into that. Then we're going to go into unjust wars, creating our own economies, because you know what, guys? Everything's tainted. It's about time for us to start focusing on supporting local business, supporting small businesses. And we're going to talk about that. Education. We'll talk about how the colleges are basically North Korean re-education camps now, you know, and then also we got some education problems going on here locally that I got big problems with. We got big problems with. So again, nice, cool, interesting, captivating show for you today, guys. Let's jump right into it. Israel and Hamas. Alice, Lara, what do you think?
So much. Okay, well, this, if you follow me on Facebook, which I know some of you do.
And you have a lot of followers.
Yeah, I do. Well, I've been around a long time.
I guess I'll follow them.
Been around a long time, and thank you for that support. But there are some maps going around and timelines about everything. And if you look at those, you see how it started out, you know, here's the country of Israel.
Right.
And then little by little, boom, 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 it's getting really small.
Right.
Really small. We've always been supporters of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
We have been. And I think that's good. Our last president was as well too.
Right.
And that's awesome.
That's right. Trump was a big Israel supporter.
Yes.
He really was.
He got the embassy back there, which was a big deal. I mean, so things were going. But what's troubled me about this incident when it happened is Israel has like the best defense. They are sharp in their intelligence and everything, right? Supposedly. The question is, was it just allowed to happen? I mean, why didn't they know? I mean, I have so many questions, really. So I don't know if we have a differing opinion. I think my deal is I have a lot of questions, and I'm not sure that they're getting answered.
I get it. I don't like seeing anybody get killed or die for no reason. It's horrible. I'm not going to sit here and say I support the Palestinians and Hamas for what they did. Killing innocents is horrible. I'm not going to sit here and say I support Israel as if there's some kind of hardcore innocent victim, because you know what? To me, that was a stand down, guys. I mean, they got the best military in the world. Arguably, they got the Iron Dome. Everybody knows it. You don't mess with Israeli soldiers. Everybody knows that. And it took them 7 hours to respond. Get out of here, dude. 7 hours of brutalized, just feverish murder throughout the streets. And that just doesn't add up. So I don't trust the Israeli government. Nothing against Jewish people. I think the Israeli government has been taken over. And they are not for the people. And most people that you poll from Israel think that they live in a dictatorship. The thing is about Israel is they have a prime minister. They have a what's it called? A parliamentary system like England, like Canada. And look at Trudeau in Canada, 30% of the vote, and he's still in there. That's because you're in a parliamentary system where you got all kinds of parties, and essentially it's just a bunch of different parties, but they're all owned by the same people. So eventually they put in the guy that they want. Same thing happened in Israel. They have a dictatorship, parliamentary system, not democracy, not a republic like us, and they're getting screwed. And so I just want them to fight their own war. You know what I mean? Like, we have our own problems here. We have no business sending them any more money, and we're funding both of them. Here's the thing, guys, is we've been funding both sides of the war. You know, but Biden gave Palestine billions of dollars, Hamas money, gives Israel money. So these guys are just really incentivized to boost up the war so they get paid, and they have their own agenda to fulfill.
You see something right there. Okay, that's good, because all this money that we don't have, we don't have the money. But man, we can sure send it all over the world, wherever. Because
how much does it cost to build a border? Have we talked about that? What
No,
was it?
I don't know.
When Trump was in, it was pretty easy to recall because it was like a big topic. I think it was like, don't quote me, guys. Maybe you guys can comment and tell me. I think it was like 60 billion. Probably not even that much.
I couldn't even tell you. But then remember too, when Biden got in, all that stuff just stayed there and it was going to waste, materials to build the wall and everything.
Let's say 20 billion, just for whatever. Okay, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of freaking money.
You're probably closer to the 60, but who knows?
And then look at how much money we've been sending the Ukraine, and we've been sending all these other places everywhere. We could have built the wall a long time ago, guys. So that should be a red flag to understand that this is all done on purpose. They don't want a border wall, okay? And we're dealing with the ramifications right now. In fact, we've got someone coming on our Arizona show later talking about it, right?
Now, just to remind you, we pre-record the show.
Yes, let's break that down.
And what happens is this particular week, we're going to do 2 shows today. So probably you may not get to the show about the border until next week. Today is actually Monday.
Oh, so we're pre-recording. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So just in case, now maybe we'll do it early. Who knows? It depends. But the border is a big deal, and we find ourselves as a country. We're protecting all of the other borders all over the world, but our own, we're having this big giant invasion. But don't call it an invasion. No.
Oh, it's totally an invasion.
Just because it is.
So, we'll go back to the Hamas thing. And so I don't really care about Israel all that much. Like, I just don't feel that bad for them. Their government's taken over. That was a complete stand down, complete corruption. It sucks. I don't want to see kids
Go back
die.
to the people.
Who wants to see innocent
Just
people
like
die?
all other countries where
Yeah.
the government's corrupt.
Government's
who's
corrupt.
selfless? You know?
The Palestinians, it's like, hey, you know what? The Muslims have issues worldwide, guys. The Muslims, 90% of them, whenever they move to a country, they don't assimilate. They get on welfare. 90% of them get on welfare and they don't get a job after 5 years. Okay.
Wow, that's true just for the Palestinian population.
Just Muslims in general. Like,
Muslims.
so you look at Palestine, you were saying earlier, that small little strip, Gaza Strip, and I get it. It looks like they're getting, they're getting just swallowed in Israel. But if you look at the Muslim population worldwide, they're spreading all over the world.
They're huge.
They're dominating, and they make you convert over to praise Allah, and they take over your welfare system, and they do increase crime at a large scale. So I'm not trying to say I have Palestinian friends that are incredible family values. They don't even mind. They like Christians. I'm friends with them. Great, amazing human beings, and they love America. As a matter of fact, they have American flags in their houses and have businesses. But by and large, the Muslim population around the country, when they do get into these other countries and become immigrants, they get on welfare and they cause a lot of crime.
Zeke, it's really been quiet about Muslims lately.
Oh yeah, well, because the far left is in tandem with them.
Years and years about that at all.
You're right.
And with everything going on, the Muslim religion is not cool with transgenderism and things like that.
Oh, that's a great point. Because I love Muslims too. I'm just telling you guys the facts, okay? When I'm talking about these immigrants and stuff like that and the welfare, that's just facts. But there's Muslim cultures in Michigan that are standing up against these LGBTQ movements, and they're saying, no, we don't want this in our schools. And they're proud to be Americans, but they still hold on to their Muslim faith, which is fine by me.
And that's their right. This is America, and you have a.
That's the point of this country. You assimilate to this country. You respect this country. You can practice whatever religion you want, and that's what they're doing. So I can't knock them.
No, and there's so many things. It's like the horrible laws that we have here in New Mexico that we're trying to get reversed.
Yeah.
We know the Muslims are not for that. They can't be for that.
No, but there's radical forms of every religion, and that's just my 2 cents on it, guys. I don't support either one of those countries. I don't want to see anybody innocent die at all. I think there's enough innocent people dying at our border right now that we should be focusing on. There's enough innocent veterans that are homeless that are dying in the streets right now, that are committing suicide right now. I think we better be focusing on that than all these crazy, unjust wars that are going on around the world.
So you're a veteran.
I am.
And now there's talk about, maybe we're going to send troops.
Yep.
We're going to do that.
Big talk of that.
Which I think it could happen, and I don't want to see that happen.
Well, they talk about it so mundanely, like as if, it's just going to be like another Iraq, or like another Vietnam, no big deal. We'll just
send the Middle East.
Well,
wow. Do you feel differently about it because of that reason, or
what do you think? It's going to be a complete waste of money and another endless war that the American people wanted nothing to do with, and they're making us do it anyway.
So let's see. Trump was in office and no wars, right?
0 wars.
Mr. Biden this hasn't completed his term. He still has another year or so
Year
to
and a
go,
half,
right?
approximately, right?
And this could be war number 2. And I think we have our own war with our borders, the invasion.
That is a war.
That pre-war
We're
stuff.
at war right now, guys.
Yeah.
We're all veterans of biological attack, of medical tyranny, of financial tyranny. We're at war right now. That's just what it is. And the sooner that we realize it, and the sooner we start talking about it, the sooner we can start pushing back against it and protecting ourselves, protecting our community, because we have to push back. If we just let them roll over us, then what's the freaking point? Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, and that is really the point of us doing our weekly recorded show here, the Chips and Salsa Show in New Mexico, because it's very limited here in the state. And we as freedom, liberty, loving Latinos, whatever you want to call us, who happen to be conservatives, we happen to be Republican, but we first are conservative. There just isn't enough information that goes out there. Even though you have access, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. But I think that there's something powerful. I'm a boomer, and Mr. Zeke is
Freaking
a
millennial.
millennial. He's a millennial.
Freaking millennial.
He's a magnificent millennial. Magnificent. But when you hear it from us, who, you know, we're not politicians, although you could be. You might be running again.
Trying to be one. I will be one. I will be
And
one.
you'd be a good one.
Yeah.
You'd be a great one.
Yeah.
I was when I served from 2008 2012 for the hospital board there at Maricopa Healthcare District, and it's a good experience. And I'm just gonna put a little plug in here, a little diversion. But if you have never run for office, I always like to say, help somebody.
That is a huge point.
Help somebody, either donate your time, write them a little check, pass on information about them, find someone you support. Maybe there's someone you don't want in office. Then you need to tell people about that. You know, Zeke, I haven't been here that long, but I'm already getting phone calls from people I know. Hey, what about this guy? What about this gal? And because we're so active, and I give CCIA, Coalition for Conservative Action, a lot of credit for it. I know a lot of the candidates, and I can say, this is what they said about this. This is what they think about this. This is the impression I got. And, you know, I'm not as active as I'd like to be. And you know them because you've been here for so long. But
Yeah.
please, just kind of, you know, whatever, maybe you don't have that much time. People work. They got jobs. They work. They have kids. Whatever, even if you do a half hour a week, it's amazing. It's amazing what kind of an impact you can make.
Well, here's the thing: is Ken Paxton out of Texas, the Attorney General there, who's like super pro-America, totally fighting against the deep state, the fifth column, and the cabal head on. Total badass. I heard an interview with him yesterday with I forgot his name. However, Ken Paxton, he's out there recruiting candidates because they can lose the House in Texas. Texas is on the verge of getting flipped. There's a lot of horrible Republicans there that are basically Democrats, and if he doesn't have a House, he is out of there as well.
Yeah.
So he's actively
They
recruiting.
already tried to impeach him, right?
Yeah, they failed miserably though. He's actively recruiting House members for Texas right now. He has the money. He has the team. If you are willing and ready, he's looking specifically for moms.
Don't move there. Stay in New Mexico.
Well, my point is that why haven't we been doing that here in New Mexico? It's the worst state in the country. Okay, we've got Republicans here. It's not like we don't have Republicans. We have a lot of Republicans here. We really do. Why wouldn't any leadership go out and personally recruit state House representatives to flip the legislator? You know, all the skills and knowledge that these higher ups in the Republican Party that they have, all the connections and the money that they have, they can be doing it like Ken Paxton and changing the state. Hasn't been done.
There's no process in place for that at all for the legislature, because we do have one thing that I have learned.
Nope.
I haven't been here. I've been here back over a little bit a year. There's still a lot of people who are registered as a Democrat. They have a lot of conservative tendencies to them. And I know that some have told me, you know, I stay a Democrat because we really haven't had Republicans to vote for. Because here in this state, you have a closed primary. So you must be whatever party to vote in that party's election. I get that. I understand that. But, you know, you can do that on your own. Don't wait for your party to do it.
It's so easy to change your.
Don't wait for that. If you
Whatever
find
it is.
someone, you start talking to someone and they're pissed off or they're, you know, following politics, encourage them. It might be a school board position. You know, we've got some pretty good candidates that are running for office around here.
Yeah, now we've got some pretty badass candidates coming out. And we got a local election coming up here soon too. So that's what's going on with that. Colleges are a train wreck. That was a big topic.
Oh, okay. So on that, they are out there now where they haven't been before. And we were talking before.
Way
the show.
out there.
You're saying probably there's some maybe getting paid for it, or, you know, there's so much of it now. The students are so involved. Typically, a lot of college students, aren't necessarily into that. What's your take on that? Because you're closer to that age than I am.
Well, I was in college for quite a while. I was in school for 10 years, ended up with basically 4 degrees, just shy of a master's. And it's a lot of propaganda. I was learning about Marxism. I ended up, reading a lot of the Communist Manifesto, just naturally writing papers on it. Hated it. I didn't even know anything about pro-America or anything. It's just me reading a doctrine saying, okay, this is stupid and awful.
Well, did they give that to you, or you just did on your own?
I majored in philosophy, so part of my curriculum was social political philosophy. So we had to read some Marxism. Same thing with philosophy of law and jurisprudence. We had to read a little bit of Marx. But
and do you think you had some good information?
I learned enough. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The professor I had was very neutral. He kind of delivered the Marxism because he had to. He wasn't pushing it. Because there was another Marxist kid, a couple Marxist kids.
He was educated?
It was an actual education. But there were some Marxist kids in there that wanted to be like, they were hoping like foaming of the mouth. They'd be like pushing Marx. They were pissed. They gave him a hard time. They reported him to the dean, everything.
They did?
Yeah, because he wasn't like raving about Marx. But anyway, the colleges are definitely re-education camps, guys. I mean, look at Harvard is out there going pro-Hamas, cheering on death of innocent people. Like, again, I'm not pro-Hamas. I'm not pro-Israel.
But you're not pro-death.
But I'm not going to be celebrating innocent people dying, and that's every university nationwide. What's the freaking odds of that, right? I mean, they're just taking over. It's not an institute. And then the college degree is worthless these days, guys. You don't even need a freaking college degree anymore. You really want to get into something, do something like a trade school, electrical engineer, HVAC. Girls, nursing is always good for you. Girls tend to be better with people. You can still do some counseling. There are even some girls who can do engineering out there too. I understand that. But by and large, those degrees in general are worthless and a waste of money and a waste of time. It's just going to rot your brain and just be a huge amount of debt on your shoulders eventually.
Now, in New Mexico, as long as I believe if you're a resident of New Mexico, and you can have a free college education. Now, you don't, like, I couldn't get one because I already have a degree, so I can't go and get another one free, but they will pay your tuition. I was trying to do a little bit of research on this. You must maintain only a 2.5 average. That's like a C.
Because they want to brainwash
right?
you. It's the same thing with all these other communist countries. So you get free school, but we're going to brainwash you all along the way. That's just what it is.
And where does that money come from? In Arizona, we have something like that. I think the money's from the lottery.
Yeah, that's how it is here. So like the lottery. But I don't know how they're doing a free school here. I know our current governor had some kind of free school policy. We have a lottery scholarship. I have a lot of friends that got it on a lottery scholarship, but the schooling is tough. I mean, if you're on a scholarship and you're going to school for free, fine. Just be aware that you're going to be inundated with a lot of propaganda, and so this is victimhood. It's a victimhood mentality that's very gross. Okay, it's teaching everybody to be. Think about if you were a victim. Okay, how would you feel if you were a victim? Wouldn't you feel ashamed? Wouldn't you feel powerless? Wouldn't you feel weak? And wouldn't you feel angry at everyone else that's oppressing you? That's the same mindset that fueled World War I, World War II. That's what they're imbuing into people with these colleges, is this separatist victimhood mentality. That's essentially the destruction of humanity, because we have to take responsibility for our own actions. We have to take responsibility for our own lives. The instant that we start slipping into a victimhood mentality, they win, because you're a slave at that point. You don't have any self-confidence anymore in who you are, and you're just a victim. And that's not how this country was founded. We are all created in the image of God, and we all have a right to life, liberty, and happiness.
Absolutely. Now, when were you in school? How many years ago was this?
I was in school from the year 2008 to 2015 approximately. But I was in school, I was in the military too. So I started school when I was like in college, or in the military. I started college in 2004 as well. So I was in school for a long time, like 10 years almost.
Well, but that happens, especially in the military, because you can't go all the time. You can't go.
Yeah. Well, I worked. I had a full-time job working for a government agency. I won't say who, and I was able to go to school full-time as I was working for that government agency.
So you went to New Mexico State.
I went to MSU, yeah.
So I'm also an Aggie. So you probably got a pretty good education, and it's
I.
It's I. I was pretty lucky. I think I had still, but even when I look back, this is a long time ago when I went to school, you could see tones of things starting.
Did you really?
Oh, when I look back now, it wasn't as prominent as probably when you were there, but I can look back and I think about this class or that class, and I had some very good professors, I'll have to say. I know I had some liberal ones, they were, but I think that I had probably a pretty decent education. I worked my way through school. I was a bank teller. And at that time, though, you want to guess what tuition was?
Oh, it's probably $10.
It was for a semester. It started out, I think, $250.
$10.
By the time, okay, then 4 years later when I graduated, it was still like $276.
$10.
You know, so,
Compared to today,
you know, I do the calculator.
it's nothing.
You know, it's maybe but it might be 6 or 7 times that calculate. But I don't know. But still, tuition is so expensive now. And then, like you say, what are you getting for your buck? What are you getting for your buck? But if we're paying for it, as New Mexico, you know, New Mexico's paying for it and giving you free, why not go to school? Why not just go in there and do it?
And I love school. Yeah, I love school. I am very proud of my ability to write, to communicate, to read, to think. I learned all that in college, but you can.
And that's where you're supposed to be.
You can get that outside of college at this point, guys. You know, you don't really. If you actually went into school and had counselors and guidance counselors that actually cared about you, that actually like helped you focus on was meaningful and actually helped you earn an income that could pay for the debt that you accrued to go there, it would be a worthy endeavor. But as it is right now, they're just shoving a bunch of classes down your throat that you don't really need, that don't do anything. And voila, there you are. You're a Marxist in the streets.
We need to get Jewel Navarrete on because she's going to MSU.
Jewel, yeah, I can ask Jewel.
Because there's got to be, you know, I have a nephew who's going there too, getting his engineering degree, and there's got to be still some valid education. I would hope there has to be somewhere.
Well, you know, 2 + 2 does equal 4, so you imagine they still handle that in mathematics classes.
Hopefully.
What I wanted to do with Jewel and girls, people of her ilk, is I wanted to have them on the show. I wasn't ask them. I don't know. It could be Jewel, it could be anybody. I have a couple of friends that still go to NMSU, younger people, and to get some people that are super left and get them on the show, you know, and just hit them with some questions like, who are you really even thinking, man?
You could get Jewel and the other side.
Both,
as well.
yeah, exactly.
So
both.
that way you have both perspectives.
Yeah, because it'd just be great to see someone that's way out there, and just so everybody can see how crazy these people are. And there's a lot of them. But I think it'd be fun. I'd like to do that soon.
Well, you were there when you went to the
Matt Walsh
deal.
Well, it was a little weird because I went in there early. The people that were in there were obviously freaking great, you know, and I actually was accompanied with State Representative Jennifer Jones, which was the total delight.
Great.
She's fantastic. We had a great conversation the whole time in there. Sure enough, the show starts. It's a packed house. So everyone in there was amazing. You know, it was like going to any kind of Republican event or going to Arizona. You just go to Arizona and freaking hits. You can't swing a stick and not hit a badass Republican in Arizona. But outside, though, was extreme. So, you know, it was weird because I saw nothing but a bunch of love and cool people inside. Outside, from what I understand, they bust a lot of random people.
Well, I was going to just ask you, do they look like they were from around there?
No.
Because that would happen in Arizona too. I'm like,
No.
that dude's not from here. You know,
They pay these people all kinds of money to do this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. I hear you.
they just print however much money they want anyway. So why not just dole it out?
Just keep paying them.
Yeah.
An event, for those of you that follow me and are from Arizona, you might remember an event called Feet to the Fire. And I probably told you about this, Zeke. But it was Sheriff Joe Arpaio was there. It was down at our state capitol there in Phoenix. And there were a lot of protesters there. And I remember there was one gal, and she had her little sign and stuff. So I was asking her in a pleasant voice, because I was curious what she was doing. And I said, so where are you from, like in the area? You know, because I was curious, because just something didn't click. So she yelled at me, I born here. And
Okay.
I thought, I don't think you were. And that's fine. You know what? That's okay. We welcome legal immigration if she's cool and everything. But it was so obvious, and she was so angry. And they were such a protected class. We were there.
That anger is big.
The anger is big, absolutely big. And then I've shown you.
It's a victimhood.
I still have, it's right. I still have pictures. And there's one gal at that time. That's before people were wearing masks and stuff. And she had her face painted, so you couldn't tell who she was. She had a banner, and it had like Republicans or Nazis, stuff like that, and everything. And the most rudest part of that, though, when the program was to start, and you do the invocation and the pledge, all through that, these people would not be quiet. They yelled and screamed around.
That's
had no
disrespectful.
respect. And that was a big tell size. Okay, now I know where you are and where you stand if you're doing that. And it may not even been from here. They may not even have been from this country. And that is, I was already following politics, but I'll never, ever forget that. Then I went home, and my neighbor says, oh, Alice, were you down there? Republicans were getting crazy down there. I said, no, it's not the Republicans, because of the way that the news portrays stuff and who they talk to and see, you know? Anyway, I kind of took us off on diversion.
No,
but you talked about victimhood.
Perfectly said.
Right.
That's what it is. It's to be aware of that victimhood mentality, guys. Don't fall in. Take responsibility for your own life. Take responsibility for your own actions. You can do that. You can own it. Okay, because 96%, if not all of everything that happened to you in your life is your own fault. Now, if you're in Africa and you're in this slum and there's no God there at all, there's no infrastructure, then yeah, and those poor children have no hope. That's why we fight, so that we can eventually bring them some type of hope. But by and large, Christian economies, Christian communities have been the best the world has ever seen since day one, guys. You can go open up a Christian colony in Africa, they end up thriving. You can do it in Europe, they end up thriving. It's just what it is. Okay. But the point to that is the victimhood mentality. The same thing with CRT, the critical race theory, where they're trying to have everybody hate white people, which like only 10% of the world population is white. They are the minority, okay? And they're going to be the victims. It's so stupid, but they want to create that victim mentality so they can stoke that anger, stoke that fear, and then just manipulate people with it. So don't give into it, guys. Take responsibility for your life and your own actions. That's how you fix that remedy, and teach people about this victimhood stuff. It
is total power. I do have some faith and some optimism. Try to have a little bit of joy in life. I'm because it sounds the way we're talking sounds like, oh, there's no hope. Don't do that, because there are young adults, I'm going to call them, people in school, and they're trying to do the right thing. They're trying to be active and engaged and involved. So I do have hope. I don't want to give up. There's the organizations like Jules, a part of Young American Foundation. I have that right, or Young America's Foundation, excuse me. So they are out
Young
there.
Americans for Freedom.
For freedom, I'm sorry. And they are trying to do things and support them. Or if you have young people in your family that are going to college, tell them about that. There are
get them out of college.
Well, yeah, and sometimes they have to.
Most people, I don't think need to be there. Personally, I don't. And this is someone who's been there. I've been there. I'm hyper educated. I'm pretty fucking good. Excuse my language.
I really think take a break. Take a break before you just go straight on. I started right away, right out of high school, because I was afraid if I didn't go right away, I wouldn't. And for me, it worked. But nowadays, I think before you do anything, take a break, go work, go do this, go explore, do whatever, and get a taste of real life and see. And I had the advantage because I was working and doing school, so I was experiencing both worlds.
And so the whole thing, guys, there's a saying, nobody knows who said it, but the propaganda that we are inundated with, that is just every day, everywhere we look, it wouldn't be necessary if it was hopeless. Okay, it wouldn't be necessary. Think about that. Why would they spend so much money and time convincing us that we're horrible people, that we're evil, angry, white supremacist extremists? If they already won, if they had already won, they wouldn't spend all that money, all that time trying to convince the population of lies. The propaganda is there because the situation is not hopeless. We're gaining ground everywhere we go, and we still have an ability to change things. But how we do that is we take care of ourselves, our local economies, because what it is, it's a global agenda to take over our currencies with the CBDC, central bank digital currency, so they can monitor and control what we do and don't buy. That's Joe Rogan was just talking. Everybody's talking about
What's
the
the latest on that? Bring us up to date, Zeke.
It's the mark of the beast. They want to put a chip in your right hand or put it in your forehead. If you read Revelations, it talks about the mark of the beast being in your hand or on the forehead, and it controls what you can and cannot buy. That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Which is what you can do in some countries already. You can have it implanted, right? I think they already have that.
They do. Somewhere. They do.
And so instead of like your card, you just.
It's not good, guys. So we support our local economy. Get away from the hospitals. They are not for you. Okay, they're there to make money. They're not there to help you. Same thing with these fast food chain franchise restaurants. They're cutting their bottom line as much as they can, and they're buying horrible, just processed food. It's not good for you. And our local mom and pop restaurants are suffering. So I'm going to be personally going on my own mission, promoting and supporting local restaurants, just so that way we can start getting into the groove of supporting local. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're going to have. These globalist federal agencies, these conglomerates, are just here to take us out, take our money, control what we can and cannot do. It's essentially all of our freedom. So the only thing that we have to do, guys, is to support our local economy.
Well, and we do have still a lot of good mom and pop shops and restaurants.
We do.
Good food and so on, and you feel a little bit better about eating there.
I just had a burger at the pit stop. Shop at the pit stop
Where's the pit stop?
It's up there off of Amador and Snow Road, or in Mesilla.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the good thing about living down here in Las Cruces, nothing's really far away. You know, I was just talking to somebody the other day. I said, oh, how do you like living there? I said, you know, the cool thing, 10, 15 minutes, you're wherever you need
there,
to be.
man.
It's not like Phoenix, 45 minutes, an hour. You get stuck in traffic. It might be longer than that. So that is cool. So yeah, please support them. We'd love if you did that.
For all you illegal immigrants, this place sucks. Don't come here. Go to Chicago or New York.
And I think that a lot of them aren't staying here. I think they cross the border and they come, and we'll ask Tim about that. Tim Foley. By the way, this is to plug. So this is going to be one show, and another show you can watch. We're going to have Tim Foley on, and he is the founder and field operations director, of Arizona Border Recon, and he has been doing this a very, very long time. And you won't want to miss that show because he's got a lot of mega information to do that. And while we're kind of just in here, this is the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. My name is Alice Lara, and you are
Zeke Rodriquez, the sexy New Mexican. It's my new nickname.
the sexy New Mexican. Okay, so
That sounds good.
sexy New Mexican, also known as the Zeke Native. You can do all kinds of stuff. Sexy Mexican. That's probably
Sexy New
pretty good.
Mexican's good. It's good.
That'll get us. Yeah, I think we'll use that. Yeah. Eric, we'll have to ask Eric who. Let's give Eric some kudos. Eric Williamson, he is our super duper executive producer. He takes care of us.
The
He
badass
puts us on.
savage,
Yeah,
Eric Williamson.
he really is. He uploads our show and gets, by the way, please, we're doing pretty good in the Rumble. Our last show already had a couple hundred views.
Yeah, the
and,
views are up, guys. The
thank
views
you
are
for
up.
that.
The clips, our clips are getting a lot of love too. Thank you guys so much for showing the Instagram love on those clips. That means a lot to us, guys.
Right. Follow us, right? It's a follow on.
Follow us. Follow on Rumble. We're gonna keep going on Rumble pretty hard. I did upload some YouTube stuff. We're gonna be on all platforms, but we're gonna be primarily focusing on Rumble, guys, because it's free speech platform.
Yeah.
We got to go with that.
That's very true. We are still on YouTube, so you can find some stuff on YouTube. And if you'd like to subscribe to that, that's fine. That's great. The more, the better. You know. So, but man, really, Rumble is where we're trying to.
So let's get back to some serious business, guys. Talking about creating creating our own economies outside of these globalist conglomerates that they'll have control over what you can and cannot buy. You know, the social credit score system like they have in China. Like if you say anything bad against the government or you do anything bad, they'll just shut you off. You can't go buy gas. You can't go to the grocery store or whatever. So think about this. This is very important.
And if you're not using cash, you really can't do anything.
Cash is king, by the way.
Yeah.
Think of Circle K. Okay, our Circle K's here in Las Cruces were bought out. I think Pickwick had like 18 of them. They ended up buying them for like $200 million, something like that. So now we have Circle K's
So
across
that's like
the
a
street.
convenience store, like a 7-Eleven.
Circle K, yeah, Circle K. It's a gas station. It's a convenience store. They're now everywhere in Las Cruces. Okay, so if you really wanted gas and you didn't have a good social credit score, there's nowhere you can go. There's nowhere you can go in this entire city to go get some gas. And if you really wanted some locally made food that doesn't have that much chemicals or harmful ingredients in it, you can't go to Circle K and get that because all they have there is global processed food, M&Ms and all that stuff. Whereas the Pickwick, that gas station we had before, they had a lot of local bakery stuff.
Didn't you have a grill too? That
They had a Santa Fe grill.
So they would make good food there too.
Gone. So the Circle K is a prime example of the type of control that they're going to be having over us in the near future if we don't support our local grocery stores, our local restaurants, local gas stations, local everything. Because at a certain time, like right now, we're pretty screwed. If they implemented the social credit score right now, which I wouldn't pass for a number of reasons, I couldn't go get gas from Circle K. All right, and then on top of that, there's no person to register. They're going complete AI. You just go and put your products on there, you scan it, you pay for it with your wrist chip. You do your wrist chip eventually, and you're in and out of there. Okay, so it's happening very quick, guys. Start paying attention to that.
Do you ever use the scan yourself thing?
I do. It's pretty damn convenient, but I'm not putting no chip in my arm. I'll tell you that.
And do you do it all the time, or just when you have a few items?
I'm pretty good at technology, so I do it all the time now. And that's funny because I do it real quick, and I do it in front of a bunch of people. I'm in and out, and they're like, "Oh,
wish I was that fast."
yeah." They get like, "Oh man," but I see what's going on here, guys. It's an anti-human future they want.
That's a whole big problem. You're
It's
absolutely
a
right.
posthumanist world.
Even when you are trying to get good customer service, my husband has to be, he's pretty tech savvy. So, he can get on the computer and his phone and he does stuff. But still, if you actually have to talk to a real person or even chat, even those, what are the iBots that you chat with or whatever?
Yeah.
The service is horrible. It's horrible. And it's come down to like, sometimes I told him, you know what, just call the 800 number and unfortunately put them on speakerphone and wait till you actually get a real person. And then you're lucky if you get a real person that can understand. The problem that I have, maybe you don't have it as much either, is because I'm of another generation that you always got to talk to a live person, a real person who could think and actually understand what you were trying to find out or do. And now it's not that way anymore. And there's some good things about that, I think. Okay, it is convenient, like you say, and you can find out, but that human contact. When's the last time you actually had to talk to a real person over the phone for customer service?
Except for the fact that they're trying to kill us all.
It's horrible. And that's one thing I will give credit to our local organization here at CCIA, Coalition of Conservatives in Action, because they're really into the local stuff. They go to the city council meetings and speak, the county commissioners and talk. And you have to have that because that's community. Right now we're involved with a deal about a horrible book that's in one of our local schools. And, we could talk a little bit about that. I just want to give there's a call to action. And what it is, it's really a smut-filled book. I'll just call it that for what it is. So where it is right now, it was reviewed by a committee of 4 teachers and 3 parents.
Yeah.
And the superintendent is supposed to rule on this, hopefully in the next week or so. So what we're doing now, we're asking people to contact the superintendent with an email and politely say you don't support that. You want this book not to be, it's not about banning a book or anything. We just don't feel it's appropriate to be in our schools. There's, the value of it is not good. And this isn't the only community it's happening to. Things pop up, how stuff pops up on your phone. And all over the country, there are parents that are very angry. They're going before the school boards and they're saying, I don't want this. I don't want my kid to learn this. And you talk about losing control. It's not that easy. Well, just homeschool your kid or send them somewhere else. Not every parent can do that. All they have is the public school.
That's super hard to homeschool kids.
And it's not right, especially, and then they tell us, oh, like me, I don't have children. We're not blessed with children, but I have a lot of nephews and nieces, but it doesn't really matter. I still pay taxes. And even if I had no children or no family at all, it's my community. I have a right. It's we the people. We're supposed to be in charge of this and they represent us. So I just wanted to give a shout out to them, and they still meet every Thursday. If you're in the area, even if you live in El Paso, you can come by. We're at the Kitchen Crowd, which is right next to Rudy's Barbecue over there on Telshore at 6 p.m. Shout out to Juan Garcia and Sarah Smith, who've been leading the charge on this. Have you heard anything out in the community about this at all?
No, people are just so jaded and distracted. I'm not trying to bash people, but the reality is, guys, is that book is filthy. It's disgusting. Sexual, encourages crime, encourages pedophilia, rape. Okay, it's not exaggerating. It's evil. It's an evil book, and the fact is Las Cruces public school system has been rife with this type of behavior for years now. Within the past 3 years, there's been 3 administrators, 1 school board member, and 2 administrators that have been charged in jail for long periods of time for hardcore child sexual abuse. There was a
Really? I didn't know about this.
Second in command in Zia Middle School. He was posting pictures of him having sex with a kid on Twitter and talking in Spanish and how fast they learn. Yeah, he got 11 years in jail. His second in command under him got caught basically doing the same thing shortly thereafter in jail now as well. And to my understanding, there was recently a school board member that got caught doing some child sexual abuse, something to that extent.
Locally.
Yeah, Las Cruces public school system. And so I am a father. I have a daughter in the public school system. And when my daughter was in Head Start, I would read to the class every Friday. I would go there and read to them. And it was probably one of the most funnest moments of my life. I love being around kids. And I love being around kids because I had a freaking amazing childhood. I had an amazing father, I had an amazing mother. And when I see these kids smile, it reminds me of my childhood. So when I want to do the same thing for my daughter at her school, her new school, after she got a Head Start, they ran a background check on me. And they said, because I had a speeding ticket I wasn't allowed
What?
to read to the kids.
You're kidding me.
And
Really?
and they even, yeah, I swear, and they even said, well, look, it's not necessarily that, it's not any kind of law or rule that you break. It just the board determines if what you did was enough to get you out of the public school system.
So do you think it was really the speeding ticket?
No, so they voted me out. I couldn't go read to my daughter. Even I got awards from Head Start for reading to the kids. They asked me to be on their board because I did such a good job with the children and the teachers. But I go to Las Cruces Public School System, which is one of the worst public school systems in the country, and they say I'm not good enough. And then, fast forward about a year, and there's administrator after school board member getting busted for child sexual abuse. Okay, so where are the priorities at for our public school system? But not for the kids. To my understanding, if they caught people, that means it's a culture and there's a hive, and there should be a special task force to go after these people. Is that what's going on? No, they're putting books in the school system that are essentially encouraging or normalizing the same behavior that put administrators in jail in their public school system, because they were teachers and they were taking advantage of their power position for these kids. These poor kids trusted them and they were sexually abusing them. And this book is essentially promoting that by normalizing the coach having sex with the students anally.
So the current school board, they've been on there a while. They're aware of these things. It sounds like it's happened rather recently.
It's all over the news. So it's on Sun News.
I mean, I didn't know because I've
a lot of people don't know. They buried it. I know this stuff because I care about children more than most people do. I understand that. I'm not knocking anybody, but I have a daughter. But again, I have an affinity towards children because I had such an amazing childhood. And I looked this stuff up a couple of years ago when I started getting involved with politics, running for lieutenant governor. I just wanted to see what was going on a whim, and boom, sure enough, pops right up. Hardcore. This guy was posting it on Twitter, guys.
So now, I mean, you've educated me on this because I didn't know about it. That makes me think you would think you'd be even more concerned about what is in your school library with the history of this. Okay, you're freaking me out again every day. You never cease to me.
Well, so that's my issue. And the next school board meeting, I'm going to print out the news articles of all these administrators getting in trouble for hardcore sexual child abuse and show that this book is normalizing what you guys put these men in jail for. I mean, that principal from Zia was super graphic. It's disgusting, but he was so brazen and so confident to post him having these sexual acts on Twitter. Okay, that's how they caught him. So how normal is it for this guy? How surrounded of it is in his own livelihood, his own culture, so he has the freaking goal to put it on Twitter, bro. It's disgusting. Wow. It's disgusting.
Wow. You heard it here. I'm still getting educated on the community here.
Yeah, wow. I'm pissed off. I mean, we all need to start standing up for the children, guys. That's going to be on us. If we don't start fighting for these children and start calling out these horrible people for encouraging these kids to get into sin the way that they are, we're liable. So I'm not going to be quiet anymore. I'm going to speak up.
Keep talking because I got to take this call.
Alice taking a phone call. And so we're all in a position now where you could either acknowledge what's going on around us and do something about it, or you cannot, and also basically be just as guilty as those perpetrating it. You're being an enabler, and I am choosing not to be an enabler. I don't want to see this type of behavior in our school systems at all. Even if my daughter wasn't in the school system, this would upset me. Okay. And I'm letting you guys know about this stuff because we need to know. A lot of people don't know this stuff. Why am I the only guy in the city that knows about this? Why am I the only guy in the city that's this passionate about it? I don't know. But there are other fighters. CCI has big fighters, but I've told them about these situations in the past. It just goes right over everybody's head. They don't want to put two and two together, and they don't even want to mention it, which I disagree with. I don't agree with a lot of things that people do that are in leadership positions. That's why I try to be a leader in my own world, because I only trust my own judgment. And if it were me and I was going to those school board meetings, I would be bringing out those cases and showing those instances of them not caring whatsoever about the safety of children and wondering.
Has anyone tried to do that? Bring back that history?
No. And I've been surrounded by this kind of child abuse my whole life. It's been quite peculiar. One of my girlfriends in the military, her stepfather molested her from the time she was 6 until she joined the military. And her mom's still married to him, and her stepbrother was engaging with his father as well. One of my other girlfriends, her stepfather was the same thing, was raping her from the time she was 3, 4 until she was 12. He ended up getting a life sentence. So this hardcore child sex abuse is very, very common in just our normal culture as it is today. Now you start talking about the open borders and the child sex trafficking that comes along with that. That's a whole nother level of evil and torture. And these poor kids, there's no one else fighting for them but people like us. And this is something that the Democrats will never talk about. They won't touch this topic with a 10-foot pole.
And then the connection about the horrible laws that in New Mexico. So you put that together with the Sound of Freedom and the child trafficking, which will make it even harder to expose this problem that it's there. Unfortunately, it's there.
We have the most lenient pedophilia laws in the country here in New Mexico. So, hey guys, this is tough topics. I know you don't want to talk about it. But it's so evil that they hope you don't want to engage with it. They hope that you can just keep enabling it. But it's getting to a point, guys, where it's showing up on your front doorstep. It's literally in your library now. Okay.
Yeah.
So before you know it's going to be your kid. Okay. Before you know it's going to be your neighbor's kid. It's going to be your sister's kid that's involved with this horrible, disgusting stuff.
And also, we need to point out, okay, it is in the local library, but what the librarian testified or said is this book was on the American Library Association. In other words, it's sanctioned nationally, basically, if it's on that list.
Of course.
So that was her excuse. And you know what? I don't blame her for using that because there's something wrong with that if they say it's okay. So it goes so much higher. And you're so right to encourage parents to get involved. And I'm glad that you're an active parent, no matter what you can do.
Yeah, I've been an active parent and I still am. I still love fighting for these kids. I am involved with school systems as well. I am running for office. So you best believe I'm going to be at the front line saying it. I ain't saying nothing but truth to you guys right now. And I have no fear. I am a believer in God. I am a believer in Christ. This is what I'm here for. As a man, as someone that believes in God and Christianity and the Bible, I'm here to fight for children. I'm here to protect women. And I'm here to live for God. That's what I'm going to do.
That's another show we can do because of lack of testosterone. We talk about this all the time, and we could do a whole show about that as well. I think let's wrap up here in the next few minutes. And then what we're going to do, as I said, we're going to record a whole other show, and it's going to be based about our broken border, basically. So before we sign off, though, what else do we need to announce? Oh, you know what I want to announce? I want to announce that it's going to today. Today's the 23rd that we're recording, but tomorrow's the 24th. And if my mama would still be alive, she would be 103 years old, and you would have totally loved her.
Oh, I love it. I love her already.
She was fantastic.
You are her.
Thanks. That's a huge compliment. But
Carmen,
Lara, she was awesome. She was fantastic. Great. You talk about great parents. I had the best.
You must have, because you're yourself.
Oh, thanks, Zeke. I think the same way about you. Then also, my nephew, Brad Beasley's birthday is coming up on
Mr.
the 29th.
Beasley.
So remember his brother David Beasley.
Oh, I was gonna say, didn't we just have a Beasley?
Yeah, that's the baby brother. Brad's a little bit older. But so happy birthday, Brad.
Happy birthday, sir.
Hope you have a wonderful
Mr.
one.
Brad.
Absolutely. We told you about the Coalition of Conservatives in Action, Thursday, 6 p.m. at Kitchen Craft. And if you haven't voted and you know who you're going to vote for, please vote, because that's November 7th. And we'll talk more about elections probably in another show. Before we sign off for this one, we didn't talk about.
What's that?
Chinga Joe. Oops. You saw our Joe Biden? Have you seen that?
No.
His funky chin.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, he's got like a little dickhead going on there. We've got a new definition of dickhead because it's got two balls, right? In the line up the middle.
I actually do have a little bit of.
What is going on with that?
I don't know, man.
Is it a rubber mask?
I don't know. It makes you think.
It's not him.
Well, here's the thing, okay? If you are in charge of the presidential stuff, why would you allow? I would be like, okay, no, when you go talk like this or something, don't show it. It's just awful. It's horrible. What do you think it is? Do you think it's a mask?
I think it's a symbol of the fact that those people are falling apart. I don't think they really knew how bad things were going to get themselves and how out of control. I mean, they didn't even have enough handlers to fix that.
That's the thing, and they're so bold just to let that go by. There's all other stuff, he's falling, he's doing that. Makes me think, they're just trying to show him being decrepit on purpose. What are they, planning? I don't know. But that's just blowing my damn
That was
mind.
weird. I saw that the other day. I was like, well, that's just weird. I mean, I remember back in the day, this is before I even cared about politics. Like they had like Saddam Hussein clones. It's been a theme, right? For like dictators to have clones and stuff. So maybe it's just one of his clones, you know.
I will say there is someone who I have has a lot of intel information and knows a lot of stuff, and was involved in that world. And you're young, but the Mission Impossible, I know they had a new
Right.
And the old ones, they would say, people put masks on so they'd pretend to be somebody else.
Yep.
And he said they used to use them because from far away they would work, but now they're so sophisticated. You could put one on and you would look like a different person. So I don't know anymore. Anything's possible.
I think there's power in that. There is a lot of power in that, in having two doubles or faking your death, for instance.
This is really us, though. This is not. We don't have masks.
Well, I'm now the sexy New Mexican, so I have changed into something else.
Okay. On that note,
wait. Shout out to some Rumble people.
Always got some Rumble people. Shout out to.
They commented on our Rumble post, and we want to make sure
Thank you for doing that.
We want to reward them for that.
Oh,
because we asked them to do it, didn't we?
Yes, we did. You're right.
So let's find
He's going to find that. Again, we are on Rumble. So if you want to go on Rumble and follow us, we really appreciate it. It's a Chips letter N salsa show. And we're trying to grow, and you can help us by doing that. We really appreciate that so much. And Rumble, we're there, as Zeke was saying earlier, because they don't censor us. As some of you know, we got in trouble with YouTube.
Yeah, Rumble views are way up, guys. Thank you guys so much.
We appreciate that. We didn't even get to talk about the speaker, but we'll see what happens with that.
Okay, so Free Irish Mexican American Girl. She says, when I complained about the BLM and LGBTQ flags at my local high school, they started targeting my children throughout the school district. That doesn't surprise me. I've heard of stuff like that before.
Oh, yeah.
So I totally believe everything you were saying. Sorry you went through that. Long story short is now I homeschool. Praise the Lord. Hey, that is awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Best decision I ever made. I agree. The homeschool kids are awesome. I know a lot of homeschool kids, and they're doing great right now. So, but prayers for New Mexico public schools. They need to be abolished in the condition they are now. I agree with that. They're counterproductive at this point, just like the colleges. Mostly counterproductive.
So
I don't know if there is any hope for them. Sending your children to public school is like sending them to county jail. Yes.
Wow.
Prayers for our New Mexico children. Great, common, fresh hour Mexican American girl. Thank you so much. We got another one from Age.
I know who that is. That's my friend Anita.
Agurillas? How do you pronounce
Anita
that?
Gorillas.
Agurillas. So we are funding this war. We have given billions upon billions to. This is in reference to our last podcast, if you guys are listening. So we are funding this war. We have given billions upon billions to Iran, who is the number one sponsor of terrorists. Totally, that's the truth. We're not interested in supporting Israel. I agree. This administration is doing everything it can to stall Israel from advancing this fight. Not too sure about that latter statement, but I agree with mostly what you said. This is
Anita's pretty sharp gal.
Yeah,
thanks for following us. Shout out to you there in Arizona.
And Southwest Washington Freedom says another great show. Thank you so much for your love, sir. Thank you. So that's it, guys. We want you guys to engage more. If you guys comment with us, we're going to talk about it here. We'll have more discussion with you on it here. If you want to become potentially a guest or
somebody who would make a great guest.
Topics you want to talk about?
Absolutely.
We're direct connect with you guys right here, and that proved right there. Okay.
Do that. Their easy email for me, Alice Lara, @hotmail.com, or just contact us on Facebook or something. It's all good. Okay, so until the next show, it's going to be another hot show. Really appreciate Chipsters, you following us and clicking in. Spread the word. My name is Alice Lara, and
the sexy New Mexican. Zeke Rodriquez.
I don't know. I'll see what happens with that. All right, guys.
And she's like, I don't like it.
No,
well, I don't care.
No, I like it. Hey, I like it. Sex sells. We can use it. We'll use it.
Like it because you have to.
I don't have to. I don't have to do it. But I do.
I don't gotta do that.
I think it'll work. Okay,
all right, guys.
Have a great one.
Thank you, guys.
Until the next time.
God bless. Love, peace, chicken grease. Jesus.